Hi everyone, welcome to the second video of the week. We are going to go into the second half where we talk about the family values. Now, I just want to pre-warn you that typically this activity is done in person with a pile of cards, and I thought for a long time, how could I best split this up into a video, and I know that it's not the most effective, or it's not the best way, but it was the best I was capable of coming up with. I had thought about sending these cards to everyone, but that also ended up not really being reasonable. So I apologize in advance for something that is going to maybe be confusing. And again, your coaches are there and ready to help you if you need help. So values, a plan for parenting. So I want us to start by thinking about our family history, both the helpful things we're proud to carry forward and the unhelpful things that you hope to change for your children. Something that was very helpful for me that I think is really important is we had a very, very great love of reading in my family. Everyone in my family reads and has books all around their house, and we talk about the things we read, and we gift books to each other, and we read together. And that's something that I have always continued on with children as I grew up. And I think that that is an important family value. Something that's been unhelpful is that I have changed as I have been able, as I stepped into that parenting role, is to be more effective with communication. I did not grow up with very effective communication, and yelling was how we primarily communicate. And I know that that's not helpful for my children, and so that's something that I committed to doing different. And I also have seen how it's impacted the rest of my life to change my communication style. And it's not something that you do overnight. I call it my lifelong journey that I am always working on. A parenting value is something that's important to you that you want to include as part of your parent job. So both of those things that I named are really important values to me that I'm including as my parent job. Passing on that love of literature is really important to me, and also effective communication is very important to me, that I pass both those on. So this is called the value card sort activity. The following activity is important for the curriculum but hard to put online. I've tried my best to make it simple, and you could choose to do one of the following. So you could either find a blank sheet of paper, and I'll show you how to write these different things down, or you can print out the pages that were attached to the email, and then you won't have to write as much down, but you'll be able to write on the paper. Some people may be skilled with Adobe on their computer and can add digital marks or whatever, however it makes sense for you to do it. So go ahead and pause the video and get what you need to get, and I'm going to do my absolute best to explain each one. So you may have elected to print these out, and if you did so, perfect. If you did not, that's okay, and we're going to use that piece of paper. So this is 78 different parenting values. We are going to figure out our top parenting values out of these. Now, a lot of these have crossover with each other, and a lot of these are maybe important to us, or important to me as an individual, but maybe isn't where the majority of my energy is going to be focused. So we'll go through these together. So if you have elected to print it out, what you are going to do is you're going to read through those 3 pages, and you're going to go through each one of these, and you're going to decide yes or no. Is this an important value that I'm going to put focus on in my family? So if I had this printed out, I may take a marker and cross out the ones that are no's for me. I decided just for funsies to put these little fire symbols as examples for what it is I'm crossing out. So if you printed it out, you're going to go through each of those pages, and you're going to decide which of these is a yes and which is a no. The no's you're going to cross out because we won't need to deal with them anymore. If you are writing it down, you're going to want to make maybe 2 boxes like this, like I did, a yes or a no. And we're going to go through, and I'm going to name each one, and you're going to write down in the yes box the number, the correlating number, or the no box. And you're going to decide each one of those values, if it's important or if it's not. So if you are writing it down, go ahead and pause the video and grab your piece of paper and make that yes column and no column. And when you're ready to have them read, you can write the number down in each one. And I will list off the number and what the value is. So number 1, play with my children. 2, use natural and logical consequences. 3, use natural and logical rewards. 4, have family rules. 5, parent with an understanding of developmental stages. 6, know when and how to use redirection as a parenting tool. 7, read to my children. 8, use timeout. 9, have fun as a family. 10, be my children's emotion coach. 11, use privilege removal. 12, build a positive family identity. 13, practice self-care. 14, avoid overindulgence. 15, have routines and schedules. 16, use effective communication skills. 17, know and do the right parent job for every child job. 18, make a physically and emotionally safe home. 19, use problem-solving skills. 20, let my children be children. 21, have an organized home. 22, know my vision for my children. 23. Understand the impact of legacy on my children. 24. Know when and how to use ignoring as a parenting tool. 25. Use natural and logical rewards. 26. Make a physically and emotionally safe home. 27. Know when and how to use redirection as a parenting tool. 28. Have fun as a family. 29. Have an organized home. 30. Have a clean and sober life. 31. Build a positive family identity. I'm noticing that I have some doubles here, so I apologize for that, but we'll just have to go along with it. 32. Know when and how to use ignoring as a parenting tool. 33. Encourage education in my children. 34. Have routines and schedule. I'm going to skip 35. 36. Be an advocate for my children. 38. Give warm physical attention to children. 39. Buy a house. 40. Encourage education in my children. 41. Accept all feelings. 42. Have the material things that I want. I'm going to skip 43 because I said it. 44. Set limits on behavior. 45. Have a partner. 46. Do legitimate work. 47. Give encouragement often. 48. Work cooperatively with my child's other parent. 49. Manage fights with the most helpful parenting tool. 50. Have family meetings. 51. Ask for help. 52. Treat children as individuals. 53. Have family meal times. 54. Build a network of supportive, safe people. 55. Free children from limiting roles. 56. Share chores. 57. Participate in a spiritual or faith community. 58. Express and encourage empathy in our family. 59. Celebrate holidays. 60. Earn money for my family. 61. Use humor. 62. Make family traditions. 63. Make sure my children stay away from bad influences. 64. Know my children's friends. 65. Help my children be involved in positive activities. 66. Keep my children away from adults who may harm them. 67. Keep my children drug-free. 68. Supervise my children. 69. Have my children graduate from high school. 70. Keep my children out of gangs. 71. Provide a real childhood for my children. 72. Pay for college for my children. 73. Know my children's friends' parents. 74. Protect my children from early sexual activity. 75. Live near my children when they are adults. 76. Be a good grandparent. 77. Buy my children their own car. 78. Keep children away from my extended family. So go ahead and hopefully you were able to get through all of those without too much confusion. And now, if you have the printed option, you should have X's over however many of these you decided were in the no column. Or if it was written, you should have yeses and nos. I only went up to 18. You absolutely should have gone farther. So the next step is we're going to get rid of the no column. It doesn't matter anymore. We're going to ignore the fires on or our X's on the printed version. And of the yeses, so of the boxes that are still open, we're going to sort them into 3 categories. So the 3 categories are can live without, nice to have, and must have. So I decided to do pictures to designate each of my categories. So you can see that I sorted some in the nice to have column. So like 1, 3, and 10. You can see I have apple, 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 because that represents nice to have for me. And then I chose rainbow for my must-haves. And so you can see a rainbow on 2, on 4, on 5, because those are my must-haves. So sometimes people have a hard time going through this sorting process because, of course, we all want to give our children the best of everything. Sometimes it can be really easy to recognize that a lot of these have a lot in common, and so it makes it a little easier for me to put it in the nice to have or can live without column. So for instance, I put playing with my children in nice to have. Of course, playing with my children is absolutely essential. But I also had put, as you can see with this 12 in my must-have, I put build a positive family identity. Now, in my head, it makes a lot of sense that building a positive family identity encompasses that playing with my children. Another example of ones that have a lot in common. So that using natural and logical limits and using natural and logical rewards. I had put the rainbow on the limits and the apple on the rewards. In my mind, it's very easy for me to recognize if I'm going to use natural and logical limits, I'm also going to do it with rewards. So that was an easy one to put into the nice have. Know and do the right parent job for every child job. Again, this is hugely important to me, but I put it in that nice to have column because I chose must have for parent with an understanding of developmental stages. And that to me, again, encompasses the same thing as this. And so that was another easy one that I was able to choose which of just one of those to put in that must have column. Ultimately, we should have dwindled our values down to just 10 must-haves. Now, this can be really hard, and I want you to think about what makes sense. What makes sense for your family circumstances currently. So if my children are younger, I'm probably going to have different priorities or values than if my children are teenagers. And so things like that can kind of help me sort it out a little bit easier. I hope that that makes sense, but people often have a hard time dwindling down to just 10. So go ahead and pause the video and sort the rest of these out, and keep working at it until you have 10 left. After you've chosen your 10, you're going to open your purple book and you're going to go to handout 8.2.1 called Top 10 Parenting Values. And in these values, you're going to write down your top 10 values. Now, the order that you write them down on are not like order of priority or anything like that. I think I just happened to write them in order of how I had typed them up. You could write them down however you want. I didn't write all 10. I only wrote 7. So, for instance, number 2 was use natural and logical consequences. My second one was have family rules, parent with an understanding of developmental stages. So you're going to go through and you're going to write down those values that are important to you. There are no right or wrong answers. We all are going to have our own priorities and values. This is not something that that there's a trick or there's secret hidden answers or anything like this. This is very much for us to determine what's important for us. If I have someone that I'm parenting with, maybe a spouse, or maybe I live in the same home as grandparents or whoever else, and we do a lot of parenting together, maybe this is an activity to kind of go through together and see where you both stand and what are the values for all of you that are part of parenting in your home or in your family. Go ahead and pause this and finish that up before you move on. So after you're done writing down your 10, you're going to turn the page again in that purple book to 8.2.2, Parenting Goals and Steps. And there's going to be 4 different values that we're going to choose. Again, it doesn't have to be the first 4. It can just be any 4. And we're going to practice writing down a goal and steps for 4 of these values. So I'm going to give you some examples here. So value 1, I chose build a positive family identity. So that's my value, which is that's an umbrella term. It's pretty broad. It doesn't mean much. So I'm going to make a goal that's very specific that is going to feed into building that positive family identity. There's lots of ways to build a positive family identity. This is not the only way. This is just one way. And building a positive family identity is going to be something that we put a lot of work into for many years in order for it to be successful and to continue to be cultivated and grown. And so again, we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with these like broad umbrella terms. We're just going to choose one little goal that falls into it, and that's it. So my goal for building the positive family identity is serving others is an important value in our family. 1 Saturday per month will be spent volunteering our time to serve another person or organization. So what it means in my family to build a positive family identity is not necessarily the same as what it means in yours. Maybe in your family, everybody does drag racing at the drag strip on the weekends. And so maybe your goal and your steps are going to be centered around that because that is what your family is building their positive family identity around. So there's 3 steps that I wrote down for how I'm gonna accomplish this goal. So step 1 is 1 family meeting per month. We will decide when our volunteer day will be and who it will be used to help. Step 2, our family will brainstorm different ideas and then vote on our favorite choice. Other ways of deciding besides voting could be maybe we have like the same person or organization that we always help. Maybe we're part of a faith community that we go and participate with. Maybe we have a neighbor that we do their yard work for once a month. Whatever that is, Maybe it's always the same. Maybe the family members take turns picking. Maybe every month a different family member has a different turn in deciding what it is we're going to go do to be helpful to another. Step 3, on service days, the parents will wake up in the morning and make favorite pancake family breakfast. Everyone will eat and clean up together before going to our activity. We will have ice cream afterwards to discuss the work that was completed. So when you see these 3 steps, there's a lot of different things that I'm doing to build that positive family identity and to teach that this is an important value. There's really a lot of values happening right here. Now, this is a pretty big one and one that takes a lot of energy and effort. So my next one, I made it a little bit simpler. So my second value I want to unwrap was use effective communication skills. My goal is we are kind with our communication. So step 1 is I commit to not yelling out of anger at my children or other people. If I can't control my tone, then I have to take a break. Step 2 is I'm going to praise my children for practicing positive communication. I might say something like, it makes my heart happy when you are patient with your sister while she was crying, or I appreciate you waiting your turn to speak. Step 3, I'm going to point out communication skills, good or bad, that we see on TV or in books. I'm going to ask questions about it. How do you think that TV show character felt when their teacher interrupted her? So here's another example. So maybe my value is clean and sober life. My goal might be prevent first use of my 11-year-old. Here's lots of steps I could take. I could tell my child about my position, no drug use, offer incentives for every 6 months that my child does not try drugs. I can list consequences of drug use. I can get to know my child's friends and their parents. I can talk to other parents and make an agreement. The kids won't be allowed at my home, at your home, unless the parent is supervising. Okay, in closing, I want to retouch on our learning goals. So if you had written the learning goal, I would like to become more aware of the role I play in our family system and how it affects others. I might answer the second question by saying something like, I listen to the different types of roles played in the family system and the common habits of unhealthy family practice. And then I said, I've learned about the different roles that are played in the family system. I can identify with being different roles at different times. I think enabler caretaker is one that I have been playing most recently. I can understand now that when I am enabling my spouse, I am not making things better. I'm allowing it to happen and causing stress for everyone. So my other learning goal was I would like to identify a value system for my family. I could answer the second question with, I have identified 10 key values by going through many different values. I'll focus on developing 10. Then I made a plan for teaching 4 of those values. This will help me put this into practice instead of just thinking about it. By practicing the values I find important, I will be building a family identity and teaching important skills. Okay, everyone, I hope that my explanations were clear. I hope this lesson makes sense. Please complete your worksheets. I only did examples of them, but I need you to complete them fully. And again, I know that this lesson was a little more confusing than usual. So if you have questions, please let us know or tune in on Thursday and we will discuss it. I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful start to the summer season, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.